go to something that is very crucial to me, at least. I must tell you, it's not an easy thing for me, as I think I mentioned before, to talk about my past, because it's not a good past. Even in normal circumstances, the youth that had to go to the war, regardless of whether he was Jewish or not, it was a terrible, terrible time to grow up as children. The youth was raped away from us. Yet I come here to talk to you so that you can meet me, to prove my existence, and to prove the fact that the Holocaust did happen, although quite a few question it, unfortunately, and to talk to you about my experience. And yet, I come here and I talk to you, and I cry on the inside, because to me, you're representing the next generation. You are the future leaders of this country. Some of you may end up as ministers in the government, BC or Canadian government. You may be doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, accountants, people with knowledge, leaders of your communities. And my hope is that by listening to me, you in a very fair way represent me as your art of the next generation, to make sure that this country does not go through the same kind of an ordeal as I went through my own age. And you may say, what can I do? I'm alone. Every vote counts. And every mind can speak out. And it's up to who you associate with and how do you want to appropriate the knowledge that you may get from the internet by telling people that don't, or that profess to know that the Holocaust did not exist, to tell them what kind of a lie they're spreading out. And believe it or not, there are lots of people that believe them. They don't search the documents of the Canadian government. They don't search the documents of the United States, France, and Britain armies, what happened in the concentration camps, what happens around the world. You had a prime minister here, Mackenzie King, who said about Jews, none is too many when he was asked to allow Jewish people to enter this country as immigrants. None is too many, documented, fact. And otherwise he was a great man. Do you think that something like that can happen here? Come on, or in the United States?
Not now. No.
Not now.
No.
Okay? Let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
You know, we went through a recession just recently, 1968, in 2008. A very bad recession, reminding of the 1929s, 28, 29, 30, and so on and so forth. 30–35% unemployment could happen. Put on top of it, like it happened in 1929, a drought, with the crops destroyed, no food available, prices way up sky, very few people can afford it. And what do you think happens in those type of conditions? All of a sudden, we're all equal right now. But some idiots will start questioning, hey, you're purple. What in the hell are you doing in this country, taking my job away from me? It can happen. It can happen easily. Given the right circumstances and knowing that the mass hysteria can take over anyone, it can happen here. But you can avoid it. Because you're going to be the leaders of this province and country. You can avoid it. Not when the situations or the conditions become to a point of no return. You have to act before it happens. Because then you are effective. It's too late when you don't take control early. You can't do very much. And you know, you don't need a hell of lots of people to go the other way. You know, in its height, Russia, with only 5 million communists registered, ruled 350 million people for 3 generations almost. And let's look in the other way around. Do you think that the lesson of the Holocaust, the lesson of a war that lost, in addition to the Holocaust, 6 million, lost another 30 million, 5.5 million Ukrainians lie buried in the ground of Ukraine, killed by the Stalin regime? Let's go a little further. Holocaust is happening every day, all over the world. Just think about it. Darfur, India, Kashmir, Pakistan, all over Asia, all over Africa, without naming countries. I'm not really interested in countries. It happens. You read the newspaper, you listen to the TV, you watch TV. You know that. So you have a big noise. The newspaper write about it. It's a terrible thing. How can it happen? And the government starts spending all kinds of hours in the parliament discussing it and trying to do something about it. And they dispute it and they argue for and against it for a few days. And then it's quiet, like nothing happened. News, a few days, and in the meanwhile, thousands and upon thousands of people, black, white, red, purple, are killed, destroyed, family displaced, and nobody says anything about it or does anything about it. This is reality. Am I talking about something that is not true? You will have that opportunity to do something about it, not just talk about it. Talk is cheap. Do something positive about it. That's why I'm here. Hopefully that in a very small measure, I instill into you the belief that you can change the world. Yes, you can change the world. You have that power and you have that mission. And hopefully you'll apply. If there is any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I'm sorry?
A question over there.
Yeah, okay.
I was just wondering if you've ever been back to Romania.
Very good question. No. The reason basically is because I was in a business here in Vancouver that required my full attention. First of all, I didn't want to go back to Romania while Ceausescu was in power because I did not go to the army, of course, and probably the records could be there still. And I could have been arrested for what I was in my youth. And God knows what would happen. Mind you, there are lots of people that did go back to Romania. I intend to go there hopefully next year to see my place of birth, the place of the school, university. Maybe some of my friends, colleagues are still alive. So that's basically where I stand. I did not go. Hopefully I will go one day, if I'm still alive. Any other questions, please? Yes, ma'am.
So when you were in Romania, you were 16?
I'm sorry?
You were 16 in Romania?
I was 13 years old when my experience happened, in 1941. I was 13.
Did you go to school or did you have
Yeah, I went to, like all the other Jewish kids, the Jewish community formed their own school systems where parents that had some kind of an education, lawyers, doctors, pharmacists, whatever they had, accountants, became the teachers. And for the period of 40 years during the war, between 1940 and 1944, we went to Jewish schools. Everyone that could go to school. In 1944, I switched school. I went for the last 2 years, 46 to 48, 44 to 46, and then 47 to 48 I went to university, and I could still hear "you dirty Jew," okay, even after the war. And I've been listening to this word since I was probably 7 years old. And I learned to box just because I was trying to defend myself with some people that wanted to beat the hell out of me. Any other question, please? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so talking about world politics and everything, do you think there will be peace in the Middle East with Israel, and how can they maintain peace in that region and come to a resolution with Palestinians?
Well, we're going to politics, and I don't really know whether I want to go into this area, but because it's a very dangerous area to go into.
Yeah.
But all I can say is this. Let's suppose that I had a fight with you,
Yeah.
okay? And suddenly, I want to make peace with you. And I go to you and I say, look, here's my hand. Let's become friends again. That means that you are willing to extend your hand to me, and I'm willing to extend the hand to you. At peace, you cannot talk from one side of your mouth. You're either for it, or are you not for it. And when two people, regardless of who they are, meet, they get together, and each one wants peace. Peace there will be, because you will give a little bit, and I will give a little bit. Before we know we embrace and we're peace. Excuse me. We're at peace. But we have to both agree that that's what we want. And unfortunately, this is not happening. And I don't know whether it will happen ever, or it's not going to happen. But that's basically what it is. That's the truth. We are being led by people, and we become blindfolded to the reality. That's why Holocaust can happen. That's why it happens in many parts of the world today as we talk. Any other question? We have exactly probably another 5 minutes. Yes?
When you were traveling from Romania to Italy and France or Europe, did you feel people being anti-Semitic like throughout like all the different countries?
Excellent,
Or-
excellent question. You know, the war for a little while cured a lot of people. In a sense, probably racism, I'm going to call it racism, okay? So I don't get really political. Racism exists, will always exist, because we let it exist. I can tell you that much. I was old enough in 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40 to learn what anti-Semitism was in Europe at that time. We did really not know very much of what's happening in the other countries, like Germany and Poland and so on and so forth. All the concentration camps and all these things. We didn't know. We didn't know. We were very strictly censored as a country. And Romania was a partner to Germany. So obviously we didn't not know very much. But I'll tell you without any question of a doubt that in a sense I'm reliving now the years 33 to 1940, because there is so much blatant anti-Semitism in Europe and the whole world. And the biggest culprits about that is probably the newspapers and the media. That is very quickly to accuse with very little facts in their hands. And let's face it, we are a minority. If we are 300 million Jews in the world, the Holocaust would not have happened. But we happen to be in the whole world only 15 million people. And that's a handful of no consequence to anyone. And that's why it's happening. And it started 2,000 years ago, and it's still going and flourishing because people don't know better. And it's not only anti-Semitism, it's racism. You're black and you're Chinese, you're Indian, you know, all I know is one thing, cut my vein here and there's only one blood comes out and it's red. I don't care whether you're purple, pink, yellow, whatever, red, whatever the case may be. But we tend to forget that. And maybe it's good that I've said that to you. And thank you for your question. Any other question? All right, thank you very much for being with me. Oh, one more question, just a second. Who's that? Yes?
Do you have anything from Romania?
Do I have anything? You mean as possession?
Yeah.
Yes, I do have. When I got out of Romania, I was out, I had a rucksack, a sack on my back, and I had all kinds of things in it, lots of medicine. But besides that, I had a bathing suit that I took with me that was made by my mother. They were not available in stores in those days. I still have it. I can barely cover one side. But I do have it. And I have some baby's clothes that were brought out from Romania by my parents when they came out of Romania in the 70s. And they brought for my children Never used it, but they're beautiful national costumes for babies. That's all I have from Romania. Oh yes, and I have some clips from newspaper. Since the time I was a boxing champ for the schools, for the high schools and the syndicates. Yes? Any other question? If not, thank you very much for being here. You're welcome. Thank you.